Okay, so here's the thing. A lot of content creators, including myself, love to show the highlights of a build. And you know, it works because it's entertaining, right? Problem is, it doesn't happen every time. It's not reality. I am going to show you reality. So please, give me 3 minutes of your time. I promise it will be worth it. Okay, let's get to the video. What is going on, my fellow nerds? Operator Otter here, and today we're going to be discussing Stage 4 of the Sorc build, which you can call Orb COC, Arc COC, Bug Zapper, whatever. It's a lightning Sorc build. It does a lot of damage, it moves very fast, it's really fun as from what you saw in the showcase, and I want to be able to share it with you today. So what is the core identity of Stage 4 compared to Stage 3? Well, in Stage 4, you're going to notice that we do not run Spark on our bar at all. Now, I am running it right now because we're about to go into a mathematical presentation of why Orb Storms is superior to Spark, but our new Spark is Orb Storms. We're going to be casting Orb Storms as much as we casted Spark in the previous versions. What we're using with Orb Storms is its very high base critical hit chance to then empower the cast on critical to cast these arcs, which are going to consume the infusions that were generated by the Orb Storms to do big damage. Now, I know this sounds like an arc build, but I promise you it's not. Orb Storms is doing about 75% of the work. Orb Storms is love, Orb Storms is life, Spark is a lie. So the first thing that we're going to address is the claim that Orb Storms actually does more DPS in single target and multi-target scenarios than Spark, and we're going to try to do this mathematically. So for the math nerds out there, you're going to love this. If you're not math savvy, hey, just try to bear with me for the next minute or two, and then we'll get some more relatable content and actually get you rolling on this build. So the first thing that we need to do is grab some numbers. The numbers that we're going to need is the total damage average. So we're going to take the average here, take the cast time, take the critical hit chance, and the critical hit damage. We're going to do that for both Orb of Storms and Spark, take those numbers and put them into Excel. So let's talk about Spark single target. For 98% of players, even though you're launching 11 projectiles, only about 4 of them are going to hit your single target. Now, I do understand for the 0.1% of players, if you get the duration and the projectile speed high enough, you can actually get to about 6 or 7 projectiles to hit, but for 98% of players, that isn't going to happen. So we're going to stick with 4. Run the numbers, this is the damage. Now for Orb, the chain doesn't matter, but this procs does, because you get the initial damage of the Orb when you cast it, and then you get a bolt every single time you actually cast the Orb, and so you get these 7 procs off that are going with the Orb of Storms. You run those numbers down, in a single target scenario, Orb of Storms is actually doing 2.67 times more damage than Spark, which is pretty high. Now, in a multi-target scenario, this is where Orb of Storms really starts to shine. So when you launch out your Spark, you're going to get 11 projectiles. And let's imagine all 11 projectiles hit. This is the damage that you're doing. Now, for Orb of Storms, you're going to get these chains. So you have the first target hit, then it chains 10 times. So really, it's 11 targets hit. And then you have those 7 procs that are happening. So for every Orb of Storms cast, you're actually getting 77 instances of damage that are going to be multiplied by the higher average damage and the higher crit hit damage, or crit hit chance, I should say. And all of a sudden, Orb of Storms is doing 10.67 times more damage than Spark in a multi-target scenario. So this is why you were seeing in the very beginning of the showcase when I was in that Abyss with Delirium that Orb of Storms was just demolishing everything, because Orb of Storms is legitimately doing that much more damage than Spark. So this is why we are treating Orb of Storms as our new Spark within AoE and single target scenarios. So now that we have the core identity of the build out of the way, let's discuss what stat lines we need to go from stage 3 to stage 4. And those two are going to be Spirit and Mana. Now, why Spirit? Because you only need 100 Spirit to run cast on critical, and I'm suggesting that you have 130 to 150. Well, that's because we want to run Convalescence. Convalescence is our oh crap button. When we press this, it'll start recharging our energy shield right away, and it can't be interrupted by any form of damage. That's going to keep us safe, especially in this league when maps are more dangerous, because every single time we put an Exalted into it, it makes the map more dangerous but more rewarding. So because of that, that'll keep us safe and keep us from dying, which is really nice. Now, where can we get Spirit? We can get it on our chest piece, and we can get it on our amulet. Now, if you want to get in your amulet and still maintain +3 level to all skills, and your mana, and your cast speed, and your crit, and all that stuff, the requirement for that is you have to be a parent, because you're going to have to give up your firstborn child to do that. So for most of us, I would suggest getting it in your chest piece, because it's going to be a lot cheaper, maybe 3 to 5 divs. If you want to give it in your amulet, it's going to be like 50 to 100 divs. It's really expensive, so be prepared for that one. The next stat that we want to prioritize is mana, and the reason being is that because we are running a cast on trigger, when this cast on critical triggers, it will trigger arc. But this arc isn't for free. It still costs 174 mana. With how much Orb of Storms has in its base critical hit chance, and how much we pumped up that critical hit chance, this thing's going to cast a lot, especially against a boss. Now against Density, this isn't too bad, because we have mana on kill. So basically we're fine. When we go against a boss, especially something like Xesht that has a large health pool, we're going to go immediately. So what can we do to fix this? We don't. You're going to go embrace it.
You have no mana!
But what we can do is we can actually increase our damage exponentially in terms of our burst cycle by increasing how much mana we have. I know it sounds weird, but last league when I did the math on this, going from 2,000 mana to 2,500 mana increased my DPS by a factor of almost 2. It's really insane how powerful your mana pool is. So really try to get those numbers high as you can by putting it in your gear. The next thing that we want to talk about that's just as important is mana cost efficiency, or reduced mana cost. Now if we look here, we have these notes here, and then we have conservative casting. Let's talk about conservative casting, because you can see that nothing here has grabbed it. This is allocated. And the way that you allocate in your amulet is that you will go to that passive, you hold down Alt, and it'll tell you the emotions, disgust, disgust, ire. You now go to your stash into your delirium, you'll right click the ones that you need, put your amulet here, put in disgust, disgust, ire, instill it, bam. Your amulet is now allocated with the passive that you want. So now what I do is show just how powerful those mana efficiency nodes are. As you can see, I haven't taken any right here, and I have taken out the support gem in my Orb of Storms, and therefore my Orb of Storms cost 261 mana. Let's see how long it takes to drain without Tempest and without any cast on critical arcs triggering. As you can see, that's not very good. I'm gonna go very, very quickly. I need to fix this. So what can we do? Well, let's just go ahead and grab these. And let's go ahead and put this gem into our Orb of Storms. And now let's see how fast it takes. That is the power of mana cost efficiency. Use it, love it, It's amazing. Combine the power of maximum mana with mana cost efficiency, and now all of a sudden, your DPS is going to skyrocket by almost a factor of 4. It's a very important stat for Sorcs. The last thing that we're going to talk about is the teleport tech, which is utilizing Ball Lightning and Lightning Warp. Now, if you didn't know, when you cast Ball Lightning, you can actually Lightning Warp to it, and it looks like this. The other cool part of this is that you can see that you get Lightning infused. Yes, every time you use Lightning Warp, you get a Lightning infusion. Well, that's pretty neat. And the other thing is that Lightning Warp actually does some pretty crazy base damage. But if you're able to cast it multiple times, you can actually clear everything that's in front of you. And now you've created space between you and any other targets, and you can go into a Tempest and let out a fully empowered Arc with Unleash and clear the whole room. But there's a problem. This Ball Lightning is, it's pretty slow. I can run faster than it. So what can we do to fix that? Well, the first thing that we can do is we can just go ahead and put projectile acceleration into it. But this is still going to cause a problem, because even with that, I'm still kind of running at the same speed. And if I want to move faster, now I can sprint faster than it. So this really doesn't do much for us. So how do we actually make this work? Well, the first thing you need to do is to make sure that your damage weapon is a chiming staff, because you're going to want Sigil of Power. We're actually not going to run a wand and a focus. Now, yes, a wand and a focus is legitimately much more damage, but we actually get to a point where we're dealing too much damage. And now the thing that's actually holding us back isn't how much damage we're dealing, it's actually our movement. So let's go ahead and give ourselves some movement. Let's go ahead and take out the secondary staff and have our primary staff with the Sigil of Power be our damage staff. And now what we're going to do is we're going to run Widow Hailbow. This increases the bonuses gained from equipped quivers by 250%. And then we just grab a quiver that only needs the projectile speed. With this 46% being multiplied by the 250%, this now becomes about 150% projectile speed. And now, when we cast our Ball Lightning, now we're cooking. Now let's amp this up even more. Let's go ahead and put Unleash into our Ball Lightning. Now it's going to create 2 of them. And when it does, I can teleport to all 3, and I am fully infused every time. But let's say I want to be more belligerent with it. Let's go ahead and put in Multi-Shot, which is going to apply to every cast of the Unleash. And now, I have 9 that I can teleport to. Just super cool. And lastly, we just put on Rapid Casting so that we cast the Ball Lightning faster. And now what happens is every single time we cast, we can kill a bunch of the enemies, and as soon as we land, we can immediately go into a Tempest Arc and clear everything around us. And it's super safe, super mobile. It goes upstairs, downstairs, through gaps, across canyons. It's a very powerful movement tech. So I hope you enjoy that. And that's about it. That's the changes that we made going from Stage 3 to Stage 4. There's not a lot of changes in terms of our damage rotations. Everything's kind of the same. We're just kind of adding that Ball Lightning with a Lightning Warp. That's kind of only the new thing. And everything else in terms of the rotations is still the same. You just never have to cast Spark, because your new Spark is now Orb of Storms. So, it kind of works out. Now, if you feel like there's a lot of missing information here in terms of, well, what other stats are important? Things like spell damage, or crit, or how did you get your crit that high, or how are things working like that? Well, a lot of those questions are going to be answered in the Step 1/2 video and the Step 3 video. The thing about Path of Exile is that's a pretty dense game, and you have to treat it like math in high school. You enter learning algebra, and you exit learning calculus. That's kind of how it works. You need to scaffold the knowledge. And so if there are questions that you're still having, there are probably answers in those videos. So I'd highly suggest going and watching those videos. And if you still have questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below. Come to my Discord, ask me there, or drop by my stream and ask me there. I stream on YouTube and Twitch almost every day, and you can ask me any questions you'd like. I hope you enjoyed the guide. I hope you enjoyed what was presented in this video. And if you did, drop a like. And if you really liked it, drop a subscribe. I hope this can help you in your ventures to actually enjoying spellcasters, as they are very, very fun to play and still very powerful, as you can see. Other than that, I don't have anything else for you. Have yourselves a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next one.